Speaking on the subject of The Phantom Menace, written and directed by George Lucas, producer Rick McCollum, executive producer George Lucas. The Phantom Menace, an all-time epic masterpiece. And I am your host, Mr. The Prequels. So let's talk about this idea of whether or not The Phantom Menace is a good movie. Objectively speaking, of course. Totally not subjective at all in any way. Come on, give me a break. Any way you look at this movie, by any standard metric or measurement, lighting, camera, acting, directing, writing, rendering, an all-time epic masterpiece brought to life by a team assembled according to the will and wisdom of the master, the creator, George Lucas. So let's go ahead and talk about this movie, The Phantom Menace. And let's just see now what you think about it. Okay, great. And now that you're done giving your opinion on the work provided to us by the master, now let's go ahead and hear what the master says about it. The creator of this universe, this world, this reality, this story, if you will. The story of Star Wars. The story titled Star Wars, rather, that is. The story of Anakin Skywalker and his children and his family. His mother as to his father. This is still a great mystery as we're seeing this, and as this part of the story is now being told to us in The Phantom Menace, Star Wars Episode 1. So now that you've given your opinion, and I've been thinking about giving my own opinion, let's go ahead and see what the master says about his own creation. He said it's going to be great. And it was great. And it is great. The Phantom Menace, written and directed by George Lucas. An all-time epic masterpiece. Yeah, groundbreaking special effects. All new characters. Iconic design. Real sets. Practical props. Practical effects. Miniatures, puppets, green screen, CGI, the best lines ever. Excuse me! All-time epic masterpiece. Speaking of all-time epic masterpiece, Jar Jar Binks is the key to all of this. Jar Jar Binks, masterfully performed by Ahmed Best. Man, this guy's wearing a suit every day on set, all the time, every location, right there with the actors. Ahmed Best, an all-time epic, masterful performance. Jar Jar Binks, combining real acting, a real suit, CGI, motion capture, green screen, practical effects, miniatures, puppets. The list goes on and on. No matter how you look at it, objectively, subjectively, The Phantom Menace is an all-time epic masterpiece. And don't even get me started on Anakin Skywalker, masterfully portrayed by Jake Lloyd. Yes, Jake Lloyd deserves an Oscar for Anakin Skywalker in The Phantom Menace. Yeah, Jake Lloyd deserves an Oscar for Anakin Skywalker in The Phantom Menace. Written and directed by George Lucas. An all-time epic masterpiece. Yeah. So we're looking at Jar Jar Binks, Anakin Skywalker, to say nothing of C-3PO, portrayed in masterful fashion by Sir Anthony Daniels. C-3PO. Man, we're talking puppets, green screen, CGI, people wearing green suits, and all of this this to serve the telling of the story, as the story is the thing that we're talking about today, the story. And if you didn't like the special effects, you didn't like the green screen, you don't like the CGI, you don't like the way George Lucas told, presented, and delivered this story to you, to me, so what? Who cares? It's not your story. Well, it is your story now, as it's been provided to you and to me, given to us by the creator, George Lucas. But it's not your story. It's George Lucas's story. Yeah, he can tell the story however he wants to. And if you don't like it, make your own movie. Tell your own story. Yeah, we're seeing a lot of those out there today. A lot of the versions that we know are not of Lucas. Trust me, you can tell when something is not of Lucas. You know it. I know it and you know it. And you know it as well as I know it. There has been no awakening. Oh, I guarantee it. There's been no awakening, and you know exactly what I mean. And Jar Jar is the key. And I don't care how many puppets you show me, birds, puppets, tapping on logs or woods or whatever, people walking around in suits, it doesn't matter. You have all of this in the Phantom Menace. Practical sets, miniatures, on-site location shots, iconic story, intriguing plot. Don't even get me started on Duel of the Fates. An all-time epic masterpiece. It just gets better and better. From the opening title crawl to the final words uttered. To the music, the soundtrack, John Williams, out of sight, man, all the time epic masterpiece. Top of his game with the Phantom Menace, John Williams, an all-time epic masterpiece. We meet the cast of characters iconic, now part of the Star Wars universe. The Star Wars myth, the mythology, the story, if you will, of Anakin Skywalker. Qui-Gon Jinn, the Master Jedi, the teacher. Obi-Wan Kenobi, the young Padawan learner. Queen Amidala, ruler of the Naboo, a.k.a. Padme Amidala. C-3PO, as we've already talked about, masterfully performed by Sir Anthony Daniels. R2-D2, brought to you by Kenny Baker. Iconic. Not to mention Watto, Boss Nass, Jar Jar Binks, as we've already said, played masterfully by Ahmed Best. The Jedi Council, including Master Yoda, Mace Windu, Kit Fisto, not to mention Senator Palpatine, a.k.a. Chancellor Palpatine, a.k.a. Darth Sidious, the Dark Lord of the Sith, played masterfully by Ian McDiarmid, an all-time epic masterpiece. And speaking of Sith, we now meet in this episode, episode 1, The Phantom Menace, Darth Maul, the Sith apprentice to Darth Sidious, the Dark Lord of the Sith. Epic battles! Lightsabers, space battles, underwater sea adventures, ground battles, land battles, galaxy spanning, planet hopping as we encounter the greedy Trade Federation. And they have surrounded the tiny planet of Naboo with a deadly blockade of battleships. The Jedi Knights are sent on a secret mission by the Supreme Chancellor, Chancellor Valorum, to bring an end to this embargo, this blockade, if you will, which then turns into an invasion by the Trade Federation of the planet of Naboo, resulting in war, and also bringing two societies together. The Gungans, a highly advanced, highly super intelligent group, a race, if you will, of amphibians, the Gungans, and the Naboo, the people that live on the surface of the planet Naboo. And these two great societies come together in an epic battle, good versus evil, evil versus good, and Anakin Skywalker becomes the hero of the day, a former slave, now a hero, the hero, Anakin Skywalker. The story begins. The Phantom Menace, an all-time epic masterpiece, written and directed by George Lucas. Executive producer George Lucas. Not to mention Rick McCallum, producer. 10 out of 10, baby! If you want to see the best of Star Wars, if you want to see the Star Wars that's the most real Star Wars, according to the creator George Lucas, man, you want to check out the prequels. The prequel trilogy, the complete set. Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. An all-time epic masterpiece. And that's all the time we have for today. Remember, dear friends, the prequels is the best Star Wars. And I am your host, Mr. The Prequels. Jar Jar is the key. And remember, your focus determines your reality. And I am your host, Mr. The Prequels. May the Force be with us. And we'll see you next time. Speaking on the subject of the Phantom Menace. An all-time epic masterpiece. Mr. The Prequels presents the prequels. An all-time epic masterpiece.